Now on Spectrum News 1, tensions building between the Trump administration and Oregon state officials as the White House threatens to deploy National Guard troops to Portland. This hour, how state officials there are fighting back. Plus, the clock is ticking for one group that's hoping to lower property taxes in Ohio. We're taking a look at the problems the reform effort is having. Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us. I'm Imani Payne. It's Monday, September 29th. Thanks for being here. So much to share with you today, including later this hour, a big sports weekend in Ohio as the Reds and Guardians secure their spots to the postseason. We take a look at the big celebrations in both locker rooms as the teams get ready for the first round of the playoffs. Tensions between the Trump administration and state and local officials in Oregon are ramping up with a new lawsuit over President Donald Trump's deployment of the National Guard in Portland. Our Daniel Grimes reports from Washington.
The state of Oregon.
With a government shutdown looming, lawmakers on Capitol Hill are meeting to discuss a way to avoid it. Tuesday night is the deadline for Congress to send funding legislation to the president's desk. If that happens, many government offices across the country will be temporarily shuttered and non-exempt government employees could be furloughed. Republicans want to maintain current spending levels for at least the next 7 weeks. A bill passed the House but failed to get the 7 Democrats it needed to move through the Senate.
I'm very comfortable with the position that we have. It's to fund the government, finish the appropriations process, deal with the issues the Democrats want to deal with after we keep the government open.
Democrats want to include health care protections, including extending Affordable Care Act subsidies that expire at the end of the year. They also want to roll back cuts to Medicaid that were included in the Republicans' tax and spending law this summer.
Massive layoffs, guess what? Simple one-sentence answer. They're doing it anyway. There's no shutdown. They're laying off all these people.
The longest government shutdown in 2018 into 2019 lasted 35 days. That saw national museums and parks close, as well as disruptions to airports with air traffic controllers. The deadline is tomorrow for the working group that's looking to lower property taxes in Ohio. It's a group Governor Mike DeWine created over the summer after he vetoed nearly all of the property tax measures that lawmakers included in their budget. Our Krista Lucas shares why finding a solution isn't easy.
We're just grinding.
A deadly attack on a church in Michigan over the weekend that authorities are calling an act of targeted violence. The latest on the investigation coming up next. Right now, crews are searching for more potential victims of a church shooting and a fire in Michigan. Investigators say a veteran killed 4 people before dying in a shootout with police. Our Siobhan Harms is on the ground there with the latest information.
About a quarter of a mile from the actual crime scene, authorities from both the state.
Happening today, Tyler Robinson, the 22-year-old man accused of killing Charlie Kirk, is in court. Robinson and his newly appointed legal counsel will decide if they want the judge to hold a preliminary hearing. If so, the judge will determine if there is enough evidence against Robinson to go through with the trial. Robinson also has the option to waive the hearing, schedule an arraignment, and enter a plea. He's charged with aggravated murder. If convicted, he could face the death penalty. President Trump set to meet with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at the White House today. The president promising, quote, something special regarding a plan for Gaza. Despite Trump's optimism, Israeli officials say Netanyahu has reservations about the White House's ceasefire and post-war governance plan. That comprehensive plan would reportedly include the release of all hostages held by Hamas. Hamas leaders say they have not yet received any new proposals for a ceasefire. At least 4 people are dead and 10 more injured following a massive Russian drone and missile attack on Ukraine's capital, Kyiv. Ukraine's Air Force reporting 595 drones and 48 missiles were shot into their territory Sunday. A 12-year-old girl is among those injured. The attack comes as the Ukrainian president announces a significant arms deal with the U.S. that is, in his words, imminent. Russia's defense ministry says 41 Ukrainian drones were shot down overnight. Ohio Republican Congressman Mike Turner says Congress needs to put a Russia sanctions bill through Congress as soon as possible.
So we need to place the sanctions on Russia so that we're not funding their economy, which is funding their ability to attack and kill Ukraine. So we're funding both sides of this.
The measure would slap tariffs on countries that buy Russian oil, gas, and other exports as a way to stop Russia's cash flow. Despite bipartisan consensus on the bill, it still awaits a green light from the Trump administration. New York City Mayor Eric Adams announcing he's dropping his re-election bid. Adams releasing this video announcing his decision. In it, Adams recounts some of his achievements as mayor, but cited the media and his ability to raise campaign funds as the reason why he's dropping out.
I cannot continue my re-election campaign. The constant media speculation about my future and the campaign finance board's decision to withhold millions of dollars have undermined my ability to raise the funds needed for a serious campaign.
In the video, Adams did not directly mention or endorse any of the remaining candidates, but he warned of what he called insidious forces using local government to, quote, advance divisive agendas. Creating its own unique flavor. Next, how one restaurant brings an innovative cuisine to Northeast Ohio. Straight ahead. The global Hispanic food market is projected to grow to around $90 billion by 2033. That's according to a recent study by Spherical Insights and Consulting. Food experts say this trend coincides with a greater consumer demand for global flavors, including hybrid restaurants. Our Tanya Velasquez introduces us to one restaurant at the front of a new wave of food fusion. A stowaway found dead on an airplane in North Carolina this morning. Next, the dangers of trying to stow away on an aircraft. North Carolina police investigating the death of a stowaway found in the landing gear of an American Airlines flight. It's raising new questions about airline security and the extreme risk some people take to travel. Spectrum News anchor Jenna Enoch has more.
Police in Charlotte say a body was.
A lot of Americans are moving into new houses, pending home sales. A lot of Americans are moving into new houses. Pending home sales increased 4% in August compared to the month before. That's according to the National Association of Realtors. That's noticeably higher than the 0.6% most economists had forecast in the FactSet poll. Officials at the NAR say lower mortgage rates got more people to go under contract. The average rate for a 30-year fixed mortgage dropped to the lowest it's been in about a year for the week that ended September 18th. When it comes to money, many Americans are choosing to invest in the stock market. Information from the Federal Reserve shows 45% of households' financial assets in the second quarter of this year were invested in stocks. Some of those investments are part of mutual funds or retirement plans that Americans own. The Fed's data shows this is the highest investment in stocks than ever before. Economists say while many Americans might be happy about their holdings, they see potential problems. They say a market downturn could hit Americans' finances pretty hard. Sewage overflow continues to be a problem for many along the Lake Erie shoreline. We're still seeing warnings against swimming posted at Edgewater Beach. Now there's a plan to fix that problem and prevent raw sewage from being released into the area permanently. Our Rose Todd explains how it would work.
The overflow point behind me was
Team USA mounted a furious charge Sunday at the Ryder Cup, but it was too little, too late. Scotty Scheffler and Justin Thomas were among those who delivered clutch wins in singles play, but the rally ran out of holes. The Americans closed the gap, but not enough to beat Europe. The final score was 15-13. Shane Lowry's late birdie sealed the cup for Europe at Bethpage Black in New York. Just ahead, a big announcement. We now know Bad Bunny will be headlining this year's Super Bowl halftime show. Ahead, more on what we can expect from his much anticipated performance. Dolly Parton postponing her upcoming residency in Las Vegas. The singer was scheduled to perform at Caesars Palace in December, but in a social media post yesterday, she revealed she's dealing with some, quote, health challenges. The 79-year-old said she won't be able to put in the rehearsal time she needs for the show since she has to undergo some procedures. The new shows have been rescheduled for September of next year. Puerto Rican star Bad Bunny isn't taking his tour to the United States, but he will soon be performing on one of the biggest stages here, the Super Bowl. As Spectrum's Katie Streit explains, it's more than just music. It's a powerful moment for Latin identity and one that's already sparking national conversation.
He's a
That'll do it for another hour of news here on Spectrum News 1. But coming up after the break, we'll get a check of your top stories across the state, as well as your latest Weather on the One's forecast. Stay with us.
Presented by Spectrum.
I'm Imani Payne, and here's your Spectrum News in 90. Dublin City Schools is holding public input sessions this evening that will discuss the redistricting of high schools. Families have the opportunity to review draft boundary maps and provide feedback before the boundaries are finalized. Sessions will be held at both high schools Kaufman and Jerome. The school board plans to vote on the map in November, with new boundaries to take effect next year. Columbus City Council is authorizing a $900,000 contract to a New York architecture firm for work on the Linden Green Line project. It covers the preliminary phase of the project to turn a 7-mile corridor of abandoned railway into a 58-acre park. This includes design concepts, restoration plans, and cost estimates. The park will stretch from Windsor Park in South Linden to Cooper Park in Northland. Governor Mike DeWine and the Ohio Department of Public Safety are announcing the creation of an app to help new drivers practicing to get their driver's license. DeWine says a new law will go into effect tomorrow that requires adults be held to the same training standards as teenagers. The old law allowed those 18 and older to get a license in Ohio without any driving experience. The Worthington Together series continues for the city this week. A meeting is scheduled this Wednesday at City Hall beginning at 6 p.m.